So I'm going to start reading a little bit from Native American myths and legends. I think I just read the intro last time. So this is the first story. So it says Rabbit Boy, White River Sioux. This is a story of Rabbit Boy. In some tribes it is called the story of Blood Clot Man. As you know, Jenny Leading Cloud said, "We Indians think of the earth and the whole universe as a never-ending circle, and in this circle man is just another animal. The buffalo and the coyote are our brothers, the birds are cousins, even the tiniest ant, even a louse, even the smallest flower you can find. They are all relatives. We end our prayers with the words Mita Kuya Oyasin, all my relations, and that includes everything that grows, crawls, runs, creeps, hops, and flies on this continent. White people see man as nature's master and conqueror, but Indians who are close to nature know better." I'm gonna get some tea. In the old days, before Columbus discovered us, as they say, we were even closer to the animals than we are now. Many people would understand the animal languages and can talk to a bird, gossip with a butterfly. Animals could change themselves into people, and people into animals. It was a time when the earth was not quite finished, when many kinds of mountains and streams, animals and plants came into being, according to nature's plan. In these far-gone days, hidden from us in the mist, there lived a rabbit. A very lively, playful, good-hearted rabbit. One day this rabbit was walking, enjoying himself, when he came across a clot of blood. How it got there, nobody knows. It looked like a blister, a little bladder full of red liquid. Well, the playful rabbit began toying with that clot of blood, kicking it around as if it were a tiny ball. Now we Indians believe in Takuskanskan, the mysterious power of motion. Its spirit is in anything that moves. It animates things and makes them come alive. Well, the rabbit got into this strange moving power without even knowing it, and the motion of being kicked around, or rather the spirit of the motion, and I hope you can grasp what I mean by that, began to work on the little blob of blood so that it took shape, forming a little gut. The rabbit kicked it some more, and the blob began to grow, tiny hands and arms. The rabbit kept nudging it, and suddenly it had eyes and a beating heart. In this way, the rabbit, with the help of the mysterious moving power, formed a human being, a little boy. The rabbit called him We Ota Wichasha, Much Blood Boy, but he is better known as Rabbit Boy. The rabbit took him to his wife, and both of them loved this strange little boy, as if he were their only son. They dressed him up in beautiful buckskin shirt, which they painted with the sacred red color, and decorated with designs made of porcupine quills. The boy grew up happily among the rabbits. When he was almost a man, the old rabbit took him aside and said, "Son, I must tell you that you are not what you think you are, a rabbit like me. You are a human. We love you and we hate to let you go, but you must leave and find your own people." Rabbit Boy started walking until he came into a village of human beings, where he saw boys who looked like himself. He went into the village. The people could not help staring at this strange boy in his beautiful buckskin clothes. "Where are you from?" they asked him. "I'm from another village," said the Rabbit Boy, though this was not true. There was no other village in the whole world, for as I told you, the earth was still in its beginning. In the village was a beautiful girl who fell in love with Rabbit Boy, not only for his fine clothes, but for his good looks and kind heart. Her people, too, wanted him to marry into the village, wanted a man with his great mystery power to live among them, and Rabbit Boy had a vision. In it he was wrestling with the sun, racing the sun, playing hand games with the sun, and always winning. But Ikdome, the wicked Spider-Man, the mean trickster, prankster, and witch doctor, wanted that beautiful girl for himself. He began to say bad things about Rabbit Boy. "Look at him," Iktomi said, "showing off his buckskin outfit to us who are poor, to have such fine things." And to the men, he also said, "How come you're letting him marry a girl from your village?" He also told them, "In case you want me to, I have a magic hoop to throw over that Rabbit Boy. It will make him helpless." Several boys said Iktomi is right. They were jealous of Rabbit Boy on account of his strange power, his wisdom and generosity. They began to fight him, and Spider-Man threw his magic hoop over him. Though it had no effect on Rabbit Boy, he pretended to be helpless to amuse himself. The village boys and young men tied Rabbit Boy to a tree with rawhide thongs. At the time, evil Spider-Man was encouraging them. "Let's take our butchering knives and cut him up." "Friends, Kolapila," said Rabbit Boy, "if you're going to kill me, let me sing my death song first." And he sang, "Friends, friends, I have fought the sun. He tried to burn me up, but he could not do it. Even battling the sun, I held my own." After the death song, the villagers killed Rabbit Boy and cut him up into chunks of meat, which they put in a soup pot. But Rabbit Boy was not hurt easily. A storm arose, and a great cloud hid the face of the sun, turning everything into black night. When the cloud was gone, the chunks of meat had disappeared without a trace, but those who had watched closely had seen the chunks forming up again into a body, had seen him going up to heaven on a beam of sunlight. A wise old medicine man said, "This Rabbit Boy really has powerful medicine. He has gone up to see the sun. Soon he will come back stronger than before, because up there he will be given the sun's power. Let's marry him to that girl of ours." But the jealous spider, Iktomi, said, "Why bother about him? Look at me. I am much more powerful than Rabbit Boy. Here, tie me up too. Cut me up. Be quick." Iktomi thought he remembered Rabbit Boy's song. He thought there was power in it, magic strength, but Iktomi did not remember the words right. He sang, "Friends, friends, I have fought the moon. She tried to fight, but I won. Even battling the moon, I came out on top." They cut Iktomi up, as he told them, but he never came to life again. The spider had finally outsmarted himself. Evil tricksters always do. Told by Jenny Leading Cloud in White River Rosebud, Indian Reservation, South Dakota, 1967, and recorded by Richard Erdos. Next one is Blood Clot. I think I could read one more. Yeah. Southern Ute, is that how you say it? Unlike the previous tale, here the baby is born from a clot of buffalo blood and derives his power from the mighty buffalo tribe. Long ago, a very old man and his wife lived alone and hunted for game, but it was scarce and they were hungry. One day the man discovered some buffalo tracks and followed them to a place where the animal had stopped. There he found only a big clot of blood, which he wrapped in his shirt and carried home. The old man told his wife to boil the blood, and she put it into the kettle with water from the creek. But before it came to boil over fire, they heard cries inside the kettle. The man ran up to it and pulled out a baby, a little boy who had somehow formed out of the blood clot. The old couple washed the baby and wrapped him up. By the next morning he had grown much larger, and that day he continued to grow until he could crawl out by himself. The second day he was able to walk a little. By the third day he was walking with ease. The couple called him Blood Clot and came to treat him as their son. The old man made little arrows so that the child could learn to shoot. Soon Blood Clot needed larger arrows, and with them he began to hunt birds and other small game. He never brought the game home himself, but sent the old man for it. One day Blood Clot returned from hunting and said, "I've killed something with a striped back." The man went out and fetched an animal, a little bigger than a mouse, which he cooked for the three of them. The next day the boy announced, "I have killed a white short-tailed animal." It was a cottontail, which the man also cooked. The day after that, Bloodclot went farther and killed a badger. "I've killed an animal in a hole in the ground," he said, and the man brought the creature home and cooked it. The following day, when the boy returned, he said, "I have killed an animal with black ears and a black tail." To the old man's joy, it was a female deer. The three of them ate and were happy. Next, Bloodclot said, "I have killed a big fellow with big antlers." It was an elk. So again the family feasted on meat. The old man gave the boy a full-sized bow and arrows, and Bloodclot went into the mountains and shot a mountain goat. "I've killed an animal with big horns in the mountains," he said when he came down. Every day, the old man said proudly, he kills a different kind of animal. Now their troubles were over, and they had an easy time. Bloodclot killed a mountain lion. Then he tracked and shot an otter. "I've killed an animal with nice fur, living in the water." The old man tanned the skin to make strings for tying the boy's braids. The following day, Bloodclot found a beaver. "I've killed a water animal with a tail of this size." At last there came a day when Bloodclot said, "I want to visit the village where many people live. Before that, I will go on my last hunt for you, all day and all night. First, I want you to tie up the tent, put rocks on the edge, and fasten the door lest the night wind carry it away. Though the wind will be strong, don't go outdoors and don't be afraid. I will call when you can come out." The old couple obeyed, and he hunted all night while they were sleeping. About daybreak, they heard a big noise, forerunner of wind that threatened to tip over the tent. The man was frightened and wanted to go out, but the wife held him back, reminding him of what their son had said. When daylight came, they heard their son's voice. "Come on out. I'll show you something." They unfastened the door and saw a dead buffalo lying all around. "I have done this for you," Bloodclot said. "Dry the meat and hides. Save the meat, and it will last you for a long time." The young man asked his mother to fix him a lunch, and she gave him pemmican. "Now my parents have plenty of food," he said, and as he left, they cried and asked him to return. Wearing the buckskin leggings, carrying a quiver of mountain lion skin, Bloodclot began to travel. After a few days, he reached the village. At the outskirts, he asked for the chief's house, and the man told him it is in the center. There he found the chief with his wife and daughter. They invited him to sit down, and the chief asked him where he came from and what his tribe was. "I don't know what tribe I belong to. I have come to visit you," Bloodclot replied. The chief stepped outdoors and shouted to the people to come and meet their visitor. The villagers were starving for lack of game, but all gathered at the chief's house and sat down. The chief said, "Do any of you know the tribe of this young man?" People named the tribes: deer, elk, otters, beavers, and others. They asked him whether he belonged to any of these, but he thought not. At last one old man said, "I think I know from the power in him, although I may be mistaken. I think he is one of the buffalo." Bloodclot thought about it and finally agreed. The people of the village asked Bloodclot to stay and marry the chief's daughter. He agreed to this as well, and the wedding was held. That evening he asked his father-in-law to bring one arrow from the teepee. When the chief returned, Bloodclot told him to have all the teepees fastened and to warn the people that they should stay indoors, for there would be a great storm. The chief told the villagers, and at daybreak, when they heard a big noise, they cried out in fear, but did not leave their teepees. Then Bloodclot called to the chief, who came out to find a dead buffalo before every lodge. And his son-in-law's bidding, he summoned the whole village for a feast, and all were happy. Bloodclot stayed there until one day, when a group of villagers went out to hunt buffalo. Long before this, he had told his wife, "You know the buffalo calf? I am part of that, and it is part of me. so you must never say the word calf. When the party killed some buffalo and were butchering, another herd came running past. His wife pointed and called, "Kill that calf." Immediately Bloodclot jumped on his horse and galloped away, changing as he did so into a buffalo. His wife cried and attempted to catch him, but in vain. From that time on, Bloodclot ran with the buffalo. Based on a story reported by Robert Lowy in the 1920s. See how long this next story is. A couple pages. Maybe I'll leave it at that one for now. Or actually, no, I could read one more. Penobscot, Corn Mother. What the buffalo represented to the nomadic tribes of the plains, corn was to the planting people of the east and the southwest. The all-nourishing sacred food, the subject of innumerable legends and the central theme of many rituals. Derived from a wild grass called teocintl, corn was planted in Mexico's Tehuacan Valley as early as 8,000 years ago. The oldest corn found north of the border was discovered in New Mexico's Bat Cave. It is about 5,500 years old. The Hopi say Moing Ima makes corn. Everything grows on his body. He is short, about the height of a boy. He has a female partner. Every summer he becomes heavy. His body is full of vegetables, watermelon, corn, squash. They grow in his body. When the Hopi plant, they invariably ask him to make the crop flourish. Then their things come up, whether vegetables or fruit. When he shaves his body, the seeds come out, and afterward his body is thin. He used to live on the earth and go with the Hopi. When things grow ripe, he becomes thin and he is unhappy. He stays in the west. Corn had equal significance for the tribes in the east, as we see in this tale from a New England tribe. When Closcurbe, the Allmaker, lived on earth, there were no people yet. But one day when the sun was high, a youth appeared and called him, "Uncle, brother of my mother." This young man was born from the foam of the waves, foam quickened by the wind and warmed by the sun. It was the motion of the wind, the moistness of the water, and the sun's warmth that gave him life. Warmth above all, because warmth is life. And the young man lived with Closcurbe and became his chief helper. Now after these two powerful beings had created all manner of things, there came to them, as the sun was shining at high noon, a beautiful girl. She was born of the wonderful earth plant, and of the dew, and of warmth, because a drop of dew fell on a leaf and was warmed by the sun, and the warming sun is life. This girl came into being from the green living plant, from moisture and from warmth. "I am love," said the maiden. "I am a strength giver, and I am the nourisher. I am the provider of men and animals. They all love me." Then Closcurbe thanked the great mystery above for having sent them the maiden. The youth, the great nephew, married her, and the girl conceived and thus became the first mother. And Closcurbe, the great uncle, who teaches humans all they need to know, taught their children how to live. Then he went away to dwell in the north, from which he will return sometime when he is needed. Now the people increased and became numerous. They lived by hunting, and the more people there were, the less game they found. They were hunting it out, and as the animals decreased, starvation came upon the people, and the first mother pitied them. The children came to the first mother and said, "We are hungry, feed us." But she had nothing to give them, and she wept. She told them, "Be patient, I will make some food. Then your little bellies will be full." But she kept weeping. The husband asked, "How can I make you smile? How can I make you happy?" "There is only one thing that will stop my tears." "What is it?" asked her husband. "It is this: you must kill me." I can never do that. You must, or I will go on weeping and grieving forever. And the husband travelled far, to the end of the earth. To the north he went to ask the great instructor, his uncle Closkerbe, what he should do. You must do what she wants. You must kill her, said Closkerbe. Then the young man went back to his home, and it was his turn to weep. But First Mother said, tomorrow at high noon you must do it. After you have killed me, let 2 of our sons take hold of my hair and drag my body over that empty patch of earth. Let them drag me back and forth, over every part of the patch, until all my flesh has been torn from my body. Afterward take my bones, gather them up and bury them in the middle of this clearing. Then leave that place. She smiled and said, wait 7 moons and then come back. And you will find my flesh there, flesh given out of love, and it will nourish and strengthen you forever and ever. So it was done. The husband slew his wife, and her sons, braying, dragged her body to and fro as she had commanded, until her flesh covered all the earth. Then they took up her bones and buried them in the middle of it. Weeping loudly, they went away. When the husband and his children and his children's children came back to that place after 7 moons had passed, they found the earth covered with tall green, tasseled plants. The plant's fruit, corn, was First Mother's flesh, given so that the people might live and flourish. And they partook of the First Mother's flesh, and found it sweet beyond words. Following her instructions, they did not eat all, but put many kernels back into the earth. This way, her flesh and spirit renewed themselves every 7 months, generation after generation. And at the spot where they had burned First Mother's bones, there grew another plant, broad-leafed and fragrant. It was First Mother's breath, and they heard her spirit talking. Burn this up and smoke it. It is sacred. It will clear your minds and help your prayers and gladden your hearts. First Mother's husband called the first plant Skarmunal, corn, and the second plant Utarmur Weye, tobacco. Remember, he told the people, and take good care of First Mother's flesh, because it is her goodness become substance. Take good care of her breath, because it is her love turned into smoke. Remember her, and think of her whenever you eat, whenever you smoke this sacred plant, because she has given her life so that you might live. Yet she is not dead, she lives. In undying love she renews herself again and again. We told from 3 19th century sources, including Joseph Nicolar. So, next time I'll start reading on this one. It's this cremation of the animal people. So that was 3 stories from Native American myths and legends. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope you fall asleep a little bit. Thank you for subscribing.